Hola, I knew we will eventually meet here at the surrendering of the soul phase. Even though this is a very intimate process and also very different for everyone, I know that we'll have something in common. We all feel extremely lonely when we go through it. Every day, I help others to reach a state of liberation by uncovering the gifts that are hidden under labels such as insecurity, trauma, grief, depression. But before being able to guide others to move from their post-traumatic stress disorder to a stage of post-traumatic growth, I had to learn how to transcend my own traumas due to verbal, emotional, and sexual abuse. This is a space where myself, Mendizabal, and others will share with you the gift of surrendering to the soul. And no need to buckle up because this trip is being guided by the spirit in La Catch. The toxic you, but the fake one. That version of you that it's on total denial. That version of yourself that really believes that running away from everything will disappear the problem. The fake toxic you is that version of yourself that even looking at how your wounds are non-stop bleeding, you decide to put a band-aid on it on your own instead of receiving help. You're being toxic with your own self, and even though you decide to ignore it, you decide that if you tell yourself that everything is okay, then everything will be okay, period. You know you have to stop and look closely at your wounds so you can cure them properly. But instead, you decide to say, it doesn't hurt much. I am sure it will heal by itself. Ay, that's cute. By itself? Or even better, you start hoping that time will do it for you. Let me tell you something. The time does not cure anything. You, and only you, can cure yourself. What is not healthy, it's unhealthy. And what is unhealthy eventually becomes toxic. So by choosing not to put attention to an unhealthy situation, you're also choosing to stay in a toxic environment. How do you get rid of that toxic environment? Well, you go find the root of the problem that is causing that unhealthy situation, and voila, you start a healing process. Well, let me tell you, that's not what I did in my late 20s. In the last episode, I shared with you that after that night that I experienced sexual, emotional, psychological, and verbal abuse, all just within less than 1 hour, I started to become what in the future will be the worst version of myself, the fake toxic me. The fake toxic you is also the one that pretends that the toxicity is coming to you and does not accept that is actually within you. So hoping to forget about all that experience that I didn't know how to handle or how to heal, I ran away from everything. And what was that? Well, I didn't want to deal with my present, so I created plans. Lots of plans that got me very busy. I got very excited about the possible future where the ones were all gone. You know, I was really invested in the time heals everything kind of thing. So I wanted to be there in the future where the time has done its job already. So I found myself planning a second wedding. Why not? Let's try to cover all that sadness of my face with a lot of makeup, and maybe if I was wearing a very fancy and sparkly dress, no one will notice how much I was rejecting to being inside my own body. And most important, my husband and I will be very busy arranging a second wedding. So hopefully, we could skip that very uncomfortable conversation I was avoiding so much. The conversation about what happened between me and that man. That night, I had no time for escaping. Initially, the whole second wedding thing was not my idea, but I bought it. I bought the idea that's what my grandma would have liked. Like she wouldn't like to see you crying. She would like to see you happy. Does that sound familiar to you? Well, if you have lost a loved one, it probably does. But you know what? No one tells us she or he would like to see you healing hers or his passing. No, we don't hear that, but we do hear time heals everything. Like, no, you don't heal shit. Time is the healer. So I was buying all that bullshit. So she would like to see you happy, time heals everything. I was buying anything that could help me to avoid doing my part. End of story. The thing with the fake toxic you is that you're lying to yourself. So you really believe that you're doing what is right. So the day of the wedding came and I had to walk down the aisle. My surprise was that I started to walk. As I started to walk, I started to cry. When I will stop walking, I will stop crying. Then I will try and walk again, and I will start crying again. Wow, holy shit. I don't know what was going on. I knew I was sad because of the passing of my grandma, but there was something else. And it's not like I didn't want to get married because I was already married to that very same man about 3 years prior to that day. So that wasn't the reason. And for a very long time, I never really knew why I was crying that much that day. And of course, how will I be able to find out if I was always super busy making plans? Lots of plans. I even went to therapy like a couple of times, so I could say I went to therapy. And I found myself convincing my therapist that I didn't need more therapy because I was fine. I shared with her all my new plans, moving to a different city, going back to school, quitting my daytime job, stop belly dancing. Well, it actually took me about 10 years to understand why I really decided to stop performing and teaching belly dancing, but I will share that with you in the future. So for now, let's go back to the therapy room. I was sitting there, talking about my busy life with my therapist when she hit the question. So she said, sounds like you're very busy with lots of plans. So let me ask you, why did you come here then? My answer. I said, I'm just very excited about a new beginning. So I might not be able to come back, because I'm very busy. I genuinely thought that she bought it. I mean, I bought it. I was believing my own lies. But now I know better. I know she just could read through me and see that I was just not ready to heal. And she respected. I wanted to believe that the toxicity was all in the past. And leaving all that accumulated pain behind would give me a chance to create a new life, a pain-free life. But why I was crying while walking down the aisle that day? I was crying because my soul wasn't needing a party. My soul wasn't needing a fancy dress and lots of makeup. Maybe my soul wasn't even needing to be around a lot of people. My soul was needing to cry out loud. My soul was needing to be alone without any distractions so I could become intimate with my pain. My soul was demanding me to surrender to the pain, but I was busy pretending I was invincible. My soul was demanding me to surrender to the voice of the pain, but the voice of my head was way too loud for me to hear anything else but my ego. Ego often likes to believe that it has everything under control, so that's why it likes to make plans. Lots of plans. Does anything of this sound familiar to you? Well, the fake toxic me played a big role in my life till the real toxic showed up and took the game to the next level. If you haven't found out the real toxic you, maybe my story in the next episode will enlighten your way. So, see you there. It feels liberating to know that you're not the only one going through chaos, isn't it? Many years ago, when I realized that I was living in a toxic environment, I checked on YouTube, hoping I could hear other stories. Do you know how many I found? I found none. So my intention with this podcast is that never happens to others again. Help me to spread the word that there is a huge light at the end of the tunnel for everyone. Hasta la próxima.